Billionaire or puppet? Who was Epstein really? This story is more than just a crime file. This is a story of an ascent where logic falls silent. A question for you. How does a teacher whom nobody knows sit at the same table with the world's most powerful people in just a few years? How does he gain access to private jets, mansions, and immunity? And most importantly, why does no one question this? This is exactly where Jeffrey Epstein's life fades to black. According to official records, he had an ordinary background. No major company, no known inheritance, no logical story of wealth. But after a certain point, Epstein began to be known as a billionaire. The source of the money was not clear. The businesses he claimed to earn from were vague. The past he described changed with every telling. But one thing never changed: the power surrounding him. Who wasn't in Epstein's circle? Politicians, billionaires, academics, royalty, people who would normally find it difficult even to be in the same room were coming together at Epstein's invitations. But why? In this episode, we question this. Was Epstein truly a financial genius with extraordinary intelligence? Or was he a controlled figure thrust onto the stage by someone else? The documents are contradictory. The witness statements are inconsistent. And there is only one unanswered question. Why and how did such immense power gather around a single man? Because some people do not rise. They are raised. At the end of the episode, we leave you with this question. Why did this man have heads of state in his phone book? And this is just the beginning. The dark files are opening. A small dot on the map. But this dot conceals one of the world's greatest secrets. Let's begin with a question. Why were certain private jets heading to a single island? And why were the passenger manifests disappearing? Why were there no cameras on this island? And why were the names of those who went there hidden for years? Jeffrey Epstein's island, Little St. James, was listed in official records as private property. But witness testimony suggested that this was no ordinary vacation spot. This island drew attention with constant arrivals of private planes, guests with no identity checks, areas completely isolated from security. Some individuals who worked on the island later said the same things in their statements. Powerful and well-known figures arrived on the island on specific days. However, these visits were never fully entered into official records. There was a nickname used for Epstein's private jet, Lolita Express. This plane followed the same route time and again, but the passenger lists were either incomplete or entirely missing. Why is an island shrouded in such secrecy? Why were some visits denied, while certain photographs could never be debunked? The documents exist, the witnesses exist, but there is no one providing a clear explanation. And the truly disturbing question is this: if we don't truly know who went to this island, how can this case ever be closed? Because there are some places that exist, yet in reality have been erased from the world. So I ask you, if the names of those who went to that island were revealed, would the world remain the same? Could an ordinary person remain free for even a single day with these accusations? So why did Jeffrey Epstein walk free for years? Epstein's name entered official records numerous times, but each entry was strangely softened. Files were narrowed down, charges were minimized, and some evidence vanished from the files. At one point, a ruling regarding Epstein went down in legal history. Despite serious allegations, the sentence he received was almost symbolic, and this ruling harbored an extraordinary deal behind it. In this chapter, we lock onto this question. Why would a prosecutor sign such a deal? Who steps in? And who says, "Do not touch"? Epstein was not alone. That much was now clear. Because while ordinary people are crushed by the gears of the system, Epstein slipped through those gears every single time. Documents show that. Certain names were warned before the investigation even began. Some doors were closed before they could be opened, and some phones rang just in time. In this chapter, we say it clearly. This is not a chain of luck. This is a chain of protection. And the truly dangerous question is this: if Epstein was being protected, who was he protecting in return? Because sometimes justice doesn't just fall silent, it is silenced. Beyond this point, the matter ceases to be about a single man. Because the truly dark part of the Jeffrey Epstein file is the names that remain silent. Now think about this. A scandal erupts. Documents come to light. Witnesses speak out. But not a single clear reckoning takes place regarding the world's most powerful people. How is this possible? The figures orbiting Epstein were not ordinary. Influential figures from the political world. The most powerful representatives of global capital, academia, and elite circles, people whose names, under normal circumstances, should never even appear in the same file, intersected at some point in Epstein's life. There were photographs, there were flight logs, there was footage captured at the same events. But every single time, the same sentence was repeated. We met, but we weren't close. In this chapter, we focus on this question. With so many connections, why was no one questioned in depth? Why did some names remain only as footnotes? And why did the silence grow as the file expanded? Some witnesses wanted to speak. Some spoke, then fell silent, and some were never allowed to speak at all. What we are faced with here is clear. Power is not just money. Power is the ability to buy silence when necessary. In the Epstein file, there were names, but no confrontation. There were questions, but the answers were left half-finished. And the public was deliberately misinformed. This chapter makes it crystal clear. For some people, justice doesn't just move slowly, it doesn't move at all. And the most disturbing question remains: if these people were truly innocent, why did no one come forward to explain everything with total transparency? Because sometimes silence is the loudest confession of all. End of episode. Hook. And then Epstein was found dead in his cell. At this point, everyone has heard the same thing. But no one is equally convinced. Jeffrey Epstein was no longer alive. And this news landed right in the center of all the unanswered questions in the file. Now stop and think. When the man at the heart of such a massive scandal falls silent at the most critical moment, is everything truly over? The official statements were swift, but the details were insufficient. The records were contradictory. The timeline was riddled with gaps. The most striking thing was this: there were more absences than there were answers. Some documents never reached the public, some footage was discarded as unusable, and some questions were closed before they were even asked. I ask you, does a case truly close when its most important witness is silenced? Or is it simply covered up? There were those who spoke out after Epstein, but it was those who remained silent who drew the most attention. The case did not progress. No new names were revealed, and the picture presented to the public was incomplete. The reality we are faced with here is this: sometimes justice intervenes not to uncover the truth, but to manage the crisis. They don't want to give a clear answer, because there is no clear answer, only a chain of questions. Epstein fell silent, but along with him, too many other things were silenced as well. Is this file truly closed, or was it just moved to a dark shelf? Because some files do not close, they are simply blacked out. See you in the comments. I'll be eagerly waiting for your thoughts.